Howdy everyone on YouTube and across internet cyberspace. Thank you for taking the time to tune into this chapter of the WatchBox review. And got a fun review for us today. We're going to take a look at the Invicta SubAqua NOMA watch model number 5511. And that's the watch you see here on my wrist. My wrist is 60 millimeters wide across, and the watch contours my wrist very nicely. Okay, so let's take the watch off and turn the camera around and take a closer look here. So let's start off with the overall case size. So the lug-end to lug-end dimension on this watch case is 67 millimeters. The case width, including crown and crown protector, total is 57 millimeters across. The bezel diameter is a 51 millimeter diameter bezel, and the crown diameter is an 8.5 millimeter diameter crown. Very nicely done overall. The case thickness is pretty tall on this one. It's a 17.5 millimeter case, and as you saw in my video earlier, it sits pretty tall and pretty high up off the wrist. Although even though it still hugs and contours my wrist very nicely. The strap width starts off at 29 millimeters across this way, and it tapers down to 26 millimeters at the buckle. It has two rubber keepers on the end, and it has some nice stainless steel accents and insert pieces on the strap. Okay, for what it's worth, I wear this watch at about the 5th to the last hole, or sometimes the 6th to the last hole. So I wear it right basically in the middle of the strap, and I have plenty of material one way or the other when my wrist expands and contracts. Okay, let's see. Let's take a close look at the case back. The case back is a screw-in case back with the SubAqua NOMA literature stamped into it. This watch is a 500 meters water-resistant timepiece with a 50 ATM case pressure resistance specification on it. Okay, this is a Swiss-made timepiece that you can see on the case back, it says, and on the front dial. So let's talk about the front dial a little bit more in detail. So this is the ETA G10 version of the SubAqua NOMA 5511. There's actually two versions of the 5511. There's the ETA G10, which is the older version, the initial release, and they also now use Ronda 5040D, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but it is a Ronda of some sort, and you can very easily tell that by the location of the second-hand subdial. So in this case, the ETA G10 positions the second-hand subdial down at the 6 o'clock position. In the Rondas, the moving second hand is positioned up here, at this position up here. So that's how you can kind of tell at a glance. Okay, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about the ETA G10 chronograph movement. You guys can go ahead and do that and Google search that to your little heart's content. But it is a very reliable movement. This movement has given me no trouble whatsoever. Knock on wood. So to start the chronograph, you push your top pusher up here, and boom, you're going to see the main large hand. That's the elapsed second hand, sweeping or moving or sweeping around the perimeter. This subdial over here indicates your minutes passed, up to 30 minutes, and this subdial over here indicates your 0.1 seconds passed. So for example, I'm going to stop my watch here at the 25, boom, second mark. So my chronograph has now been running 25.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 25.4. My chronograph has been running for 25.4 seconds. Okay, and you can start it again. So, and you can have that 0.1 second indicator go back to the 00 position, and you start it again at 25. We'll stop it again at 40. 40, boom. So 40.4 seconds have elapsed on my chronograph. Okay, so to reset the chronograph, you simply press this bottom pusher, and you're going to see everything reset to the top 00 position. Okay, so the chronograph pushers on this SubAqua NOMA use screw down locks, so to speak, to lock them in position so you don't accidentally push them or whatever. The crown is also a screw-down crown that's into the case side, and in addition to the screw-down nature, it also has a little, I guess, decorative or somewhat functional, semi-functional crown protector over the top that snaps into position. It has a unidirectional rotating dive bezel that operates with 120 clicks around the perimeter. Very nicely done overall. It has these protruding bumps here at these 3 positions, and I didn't know what those were for until I banged the watch into a doorknob once, and I thought I smacked the crystal, but luckily I put a scratch into one of these protective bumps here. So there actually is some mechanical purpose to these protruding protective bumps that are there. So let's see, it does have a date window right down there at the bottom. Hopefully it'll come into focus here. It is obviously a black on white date wheel that is used. Okay, so the interior lighting in here doesn't show it, but mine has a sunray dial texture on it. Very nicely done. I'm not sure what the actual crystal thickness is on here, but it's a pretty thick piece of crystal that's on here. I don't think this is flame fusion. You guys don't quote me on this, but I do not think this watch uses flame fusion crystal. Flame fusion crystal is Invicta's own proprietary blend of heat-treated mineral crystal. So this watch I bought obviously 2 years ago, and I think it was purchased at a time prior to them switching over to the flame fusion crystal. So I believe it is a hardened mineral crystal that's on the front of this watch you're seeing here. Okay, it does have a tachymeter bezel around the perimeter that you can use in conjunction with your chronograph, so you can measure the speed of stuff going past you in front of you very easily. So let's dim the lights and take a look at the glow-in-the-dark Lume. Okay, so I'm going to charge up the Lume here with my flashlight and show you guys that, because it's one of the coolest things about this watch. Just give it a few minutes here. Okay, for what it's worth, this particular watch is not my brightest glowing Invicta, but it's my coolest glowing Invicta because it's got so much going on. There's stuff all over it that glows. It just really draws you in when you look at the watch at night. So I'm charging up the tachymeter bezel right now and the dive bezel and all the accents in it. There you go. Okay. Whoa. That is so cool. I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy, but I just like looking at stuff that glows at night, and this is just really, really cool. You can see that there. The tachymeter bezel around the perimeter is glowing nicely. So again, this is not my brightest glowing Invictas. In fact, I have some cheap Asian origin pro divers that basically blow this watch out of the water in terms of brightness, intensity, and longevity. But just the sheer number of stuff in there that glows is really, really cool, and it's fun to look at. Okay, this is a Swiss-made timepiece for those of you who are into country of origins with your watch collecting. Okay, so let's turn the light back on. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That's basically all I need to tell you about the SubAqua NOMA III, model number 5511. If I had one complaint about this watch, and one major reservation, is the fact that the attachment points on the strap are very flimsy and very weak. There is no knob or no button, so to speak, to retain this small little rubber band that holds on the case right here. And I have had this watch fall off of me before at the swimming pool. Just the combination of sweat and sunblock and water. I was toweling off and boom, I was able to pop this little rubber band piece here off the strap keeper. Okay, so the bracelet version obviously doesn't have that problem. Okay, so I would strongly recommend if you're going to use this watch very actively and you don't want to really worry about it in and out of the water, I would strongly recommend the bracelet version. The other thing too to keep an eye out for is these screws. Okay, I have not had, and this is no knock against Invicta, but I have had watch cases and watch bracelets held together with screws before that just came unscrewed on their own, came undone on their own. So every once in a while, get your electronic screwdriver set and gently tighten down on some of the screws holding your SubAqua together, because you never know when those things are going to fall off. Okay, so anyhow, that's been it for that is it. We're going to wrap things up here. This has been a review of the Invicta SubAqua NOMA III, model number 5511 timepiece. Thanks a lot, guys, and I'll catch you later.